Hello and welcome to Survive the Unexpected. Your host Frank Pacino and my array of lovely people: Michael Schaefer, Amanda Bryant, and James Hansen. This is part three of our part four saga of ranking all Survivor seasons, and this is just the U.S. seasons. Um, the last one we got was a little bit longer because we had a little bit more debate, and I feel like it's only going to get more as these seasons get lower. But I'll let Michael explain to how he put everything into rankings before we get started.
All right, so kind of just the same. I'll just repeat what I've been saying before. We all made a list 1 to 44. I put them all together, took the average ranking, put them all into one list of 1 to 44. We went through 44 to 34 in part one. Then we went from 33 to 23 in part two. Today we were getting from 22 to 12.
It's
And
gonna be a good stretch, guys. I'm excited.
So we're
and
going we're
there's
going
going to be a good
22
bit
to
of debate in a
12,
few of these.
22 to 12, and then the last episode will be top 11.
We'll be 11 to 1. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So, do you want to start with number 22, Michael?
All right. Number 22. And this has the largest gap of what's left. After we had a 25 gap last episode, this is a 22 gap. James has this one the highest at number 11. Frank has it the lowest at number 33.
Oh my god.
Amanda has it at 31, and I have it at 19.
Jesus.
It's season 11 Survivor Guatemala.
Oh, Hanson, you love this season. Do you want to start?
Yeah. I'll definitely go first for this. I think this is the most underrated season of Survivor, in my opinion. I think some people think it's boring. Uh, to start with, the location's fantastic. We had two interesting choices for returnees, but two people that didn't really get a great chance their first time because their tribe was so bad. So I could see why they were both brought back so soon, and they both had good leadership qualities. So they sort of fit the mold as like tribe leaders, and it was cool to see them come in and do that. I mean, the pre-merge was decent, and then the early post-merge we had a little uh, early pagonging, and then Danny kind of pulled a Chris from Vanuatu and overcame the odds as Stephanie's alliance started picking each other off literally for no reason, and in the process, Stephanie's jury management was just complete shit, and that netted Danny the win. I think it's one of the best underdog stories of Survivor, and like Danny's I think played a great game, and she's one of the uh, worst like edited winners, but apparently some of that was intentional from what she said. And I think we do get a lot of good moments on this season. Like we get the Jamie blind side, which is great. We get Judd is fantastic from start to finish. He's hilarious. That dude is so funny. You got Lydia is a great character. Cindy's pretty good. I mean, Bobby John is good this season. Rafe is great. He's probably the MVP of this season. Uh, I mean, I just really enjoy it. I think it's criminally underrated. And we get the first rendition of the Hidden Immunity Idol. I know it's different, but the way it was played, but it's the first time we see that, and that really changed the show completely. So I think this season has a lot going for it, and I think there are reasons people forget it, but to me, it's criminally underrated.
Oh.
Did I have it the lowest, right?
Yeah, you had
Okay.
you had it 33, Amanda had it 31.
Okay. So, all right. This is why I just look. Stephanie is unlikable this season. Not in a good way. Like she just says
She's
things that like
nasty. She's
she's
nasty.
nasty.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I just feel like the winner is not shown well, so you don't even know what she's doing half the time. Um, I do think there's some fun moments. I think it's fine, but like if I ever want to watch a season, I'm not gonna pick this season. That's just the way it is. Like I don't. If none of them return, I don't think I'd be upset.
And they haven't.
They haven't.
Besides
Besides
Danny.
Danny. So that's the way I feel. I just feel like it's not like a terrible season of Survivor. I think they're like 5 or 6 are awful. Is it watchable? Yes. Would I ever be like, I'm looking for a good, fun Survivor season to watch. I'm gonna put Guatemalan. Nope, that'll never cross my mind. That's the reason why I had it so much.
Amanda, you want to go next? Then I'll round it out.
Yeah, I keep freezing, so if I freeze, I'm sorry. So Guatemala to me is probably the most or the most forgettable season of Survivor. Like I literally remember hardly any of it. I didn't remember half the characters that Hanson listed earlier. I literally had to look them up. So I don't know. I just feel like it's very unforgettable. But at the same time, I feel like Guatemala is like part B of an album to Palau. Like you want to watch Guatemala, but you have to watch Palau first. I feel like it's almost like a part A and a part B. I don't think it's a good standalone season. Like you really do need to watch like Stephanie and Bobby John's story first before you watch Guatemala. So that's one of the reasons why I do have it so low, is just because I feel like it's not as. Oh, am I back? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good
Okay,
now.
great. So I mean, Danny's an okay winner. She did horrible at Winners at War. I think if she would have done better at Winners at War, maybe I would appreciate her a little bit more and like her season more. I do love Stephanie LaGrossa. She's like one of my favorite Survivor contestants as a little, like teenager, like watching Survivor. I really loved her and loved seeing her, kick ass in both seasons that she played. At least try to play as hard as she could. I think she's very unlucky. I agree with James. I think Judd's exit was hilarious. It's very memorable. But other than that, I really don't remember a whole lot about the season. I do remember that the first premiere episode being like extremely difficult on them. Like they had to like hike through the like jungle for like 11 miles or something crazy like that. Like people are about to pass out from heat exhaustion. So I do remember like that being like crazy intense, like one of the most intense first episodes. But other than that, I don't remember much.
Yeah, that was crazy. They had to hike through like the jungle of Guatemala, and it took them like, I think it was like 8 to 10 hours. Like it was one of the hardest ways you could possibly start Survivor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Frank? Did Frank already
Frank
go?
went there.
All right, wait, it's Michael's turn.
Okay.
Michael.
So I kind of touched on this a little bit when we talked about Vanuatu on the last episode. So this falls into like 9, 10, 11, I feel like are the forgotten seasons of Survivor. Like right after All Stars and right before like Panama, Cook Islands, China, all these seasons where all these giant characters come out. And I feel like these seasons kind of just get pushed to the side. And I do agree with James. I think this is a good season. I think he's a little too high with 11, but I think you two are really underrating how good this season can be. I think the merge is great. The pre-merge might be a little so-so. It's like, all right. But, I mean, once it hits merge, Bobby John goes home. I feel like it's just – I love it. I love watching Stephanie play. I love how her story completely flipped from Palau to this season, where she was this underdog. Everyone loved her, to where she's just this cutthroat villain this season. And I think Danny – I feel like Danny gets a bad rap, but I can see where Amanda's coming from. But all in all, like I would go back and rewatch this. I have it up in my top half.
Yeah. See, I get what you're saying about Stephanie. If we'd be different, if it was just her play style that switched, like her whole character switch as a person as well. That's the reason why I have a problem with Stephanie. See, and now that's the times as well. So like this is different time frame, but still just felt icky watching it. And I have no nostalgia for it. I've watched it way afterwards. So
Okay.
I don't think it's a bad season. Do I think I just personally would not be thrilled. Like there's 20, 30 seasons I'd rather just rewatch for fun over it. That's the way I feel.
How could we not talk about legendary landscaper Gary Hawkins? First one to find an idol. Come on.
And I mean, come on, they could have brought
I liked
somebody
him
else
as a character. He was just a
besides
terrible.
Bobby John.
I loved Gary. I liked
Yeah.
everybody that made the merge.
I
in
wish
this
Brian
season.
went further than he did.
And Brian is like one of the, if you look deep into the Survivor community, he's someone who didn't make the merge that just got completely screwed. Like he had probably the best grasp of the game out of anybody out there. Like he was fantastic too. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely way higher than most people on this season, but
Hey,
Yeah.
if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. Everyone's got that one
Right.
season that they, push a little bit higher than the rest of everyone else.
Or in Amanda's
All
case,
right.
she got like 5.
All right, Michael. What's next?
All right. So on to number 21. It's a little more of a new school season. Amanda has it the highest at 17. I have this at 23, and then Frank and James both have it at the lowest at 26. It's Survivor 44.
Oh,
Oh, I won't mind talking about this season.
Go
I
ahead,
might have a
Amanda.
little recency bias. It's okay. You want me to start?
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Well, so other than the overabundance of advantages this season, because we know that's how New School Survivor is. Okay, let's take season 44 and put it in New School Survivor mode. Okay, because it's hard to compare these new school seasons to old school seasons. It is, it's almost a different game. But if we take 44 and compare them to 43, 42, and 41, I really do feel like it is like the best season, if not tied with 42 of the 4. I feel like we had great characters. Some of them were annoying, but you know what? They made you feel something. And it's better than the boring ass fucking people that we see on Survivor sometimes who we can't even remember their name or why they're there. So I feel like all the characters were pretty good, were pretty memorable. It made people talk. It got discussion up. I think Yam Yam is an absolutely fantastic winner. I have him like in my top half of winners, absolutely for sure. I love seeing his story from early merge, back when Matthew went home all the way up to the top. Carolyn obviously is probably one of the most talked about survivors that we've had on the show in 20 something seasons, and I don't know. I thought it was a really good, solid season that entertained everybody. It had a great winner. I thought the final 3 was, maybe a little predictable, but still good to see them at the end and seeing, half the community rooting Carolyn on, the other half rooting Yam Yam on. It's just, I don't know. It felt good to me. It felt like a good season that gave me a satisfying finish, and I was happy with it. So I do have it a little high. Like I said, I think I have it as a little bit recency bias, but I really do love Yam Yam as a winner, and that's not recency bias. So
Go ahead, Frank.
All right, so it's a good season. I just didn't like all the fake idols that they pushed in. I feel like a storyline that went nowhere was Jamie's fake idol. And it was like this big beat of storyline for like 5-6 episodes. I felt like, and then Kane gets voted out with it, and it just leads nowhere. So that was a little disappointing. I think the focus on the Tika 3 did hurt some of the other character development throughout the season, but the Tika 3 is a good 3 to enjoy. A lot of enjoyable people. Nobody that you're like, oh, I can't stand them as like a person. No nastiness, which is great. We got a couple fun blind sides, fun gameplay. Jim Jim's a great winner.
we also got the showmans too, and Franny and Matt. So that was kind
Yeah.
of fun to watch.
Who cares about showmances?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just I enjoyed the cast overall. I think half of them could come back, and I'd be like, okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Which I feel like that way with most of the new school seasons. Like, I enjoy a lot of the characters, which is it's because they're casting more fans than they are recruiting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just a good season. I think I have it like pretty much right in the middle. Like, I don't think it's great. I don't think it's terrible. I think it's a good season of Survivor.
One thing I did like with the season 2 before I let James and Michael tear it to shreds is you didn't really know who was going to win for a long time. Like, we were at final 8, and there was like
No.
6 out of the 8 people that could win.
Nope,
No,
disagree.
No, I
Frank
disagree.
called it at final 9.
Yeah, I knew Jam Jam was winning from like.
I mean, I knew the Jam
Whatever.
Jam was winning early too. That's why I was on the Jam Jam train for forever. But
I just said like it was Survivor overcorrected what they were doing beforehand,
yeah,
and they made the winner very obvious. But I'd rather have it be a little bit obvious than not see enough of the edit for the winner.
I agree with that. Just my 2 cents of the season. Like, I mean, it was coming off of 43, so I was hoping it'd be better. Didn't have to do very much to do that. Carolyn, I really don't like that they shoved her down our throats. And we can get real down here and talk about that, how much he hates her. I'm kind of right behind him on it. But like it was way too much. I think Carson was a great player and a great character to have on the show. I feel like my issue is there was a lot of just nobodies out there where I don't know who these people are. Like Lauren, Heidi, what's her fucking name? Jamie.
The Orange Tribe were
Heidi.
the Orange Tribe people to make the merge. The Ratu people were boring as hell, is how I feel. I just think half the people who made the merge were boring as hell this season. That's what I think brought
To
it
be
down for
fair,
me
to
a
be
little bit.
fair, all the Orange Tribe was getting was Matthew content, and then Matthew at home, they didn't even see the interaction of finding out Matthew at home. Like it was just so weird.
I will say that their first tribal council was the very first one of the season was crazy. It was that's
I
the
would play.
early season like pre-merge tribal that you want, like
Mm-hmm.
the messiness with the shot in the dark. Like that's the reason they brought shot in the dark in. Like not they want
We
tribals
saw
like that.
Shot in the Dark.
It's
It
good
didn't
to have
matter,
at
but
least
we
one of
saw
them.
Shot in the Dark go safe this season.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the only time that it's ever come up safe so far.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I don't think it's a bad mechanic. I think they should tweak it just a little bit.
Like I don't know. I just don't like when we get to the merge and I don't know who half the people are. Like because they showed Yam Yam, Carolyn, Carson, Danny,
Franny.
Franny, and Matt.
Mm-hmm.
Like where's the other half of the people left in the game?
Yeah.
Right.
Lauren
Shane,
and Jamie
Lauren,
and
Heidi,
Jamie were
Jamie.
invisible and
See,
they made
you
the
know what's
final
funny?
five.
I forgot Kane even played.
Me too. Frank loves Kane. I don't get it. You like him.
Okay, no. I just like Kane. There's a difference.
Okay.
You despise Kane. I think Kane's kind of fun.
Yeah, my 2 cents. I think this is a very mediocre season, but like mediocre for Survivor for me is still watchable and enjoyable.
Same.
It had its moments, but like I said, what Michael really nailed on the head with just a lot of these people being like not that interesting or kind of forgettable, kind of dragged it down for me. And then like there was so much focus on the Tika 3, and I feel like they did play really well, but like they didn't really have to do anything spectacular to get in the position they were in. Like I feel like other players around them kind of overlooked them and
The show made it clear as day one of the three of them was winning the game.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Carolyn was fine. She was shoved down her throats a little bit too much, but I really did enjoy Carson and Jam Jam, and I think Jam Jam's probably, I would say definitely, maybe actually I wouldn't say probably, I would say definitely the best winner of the new era of the 4 seasons. So it was enjoyable. Like it didn't. The ending did leave like a good taste in your mouth, despite it. Like I said, it being just a like okay to decent season, but it was fine.
Okay, let's go to number 20.
All right. I remember I said last, and it's funny because I just listened to it today, that Frank had one I was going to slap him about. It's going to be this one. I have this one the highest at 15. Frank's got it all the way down at 30. James is right behind me at 16, and Amanda has it at 23. Season 12, Survivor Panama, Exile Island.
Oh, Frank, it's because you haven't rewatched it in a while.
I
homie.
just rewatched it like 2 months ago.
No!
I just rewatched it.
You don't like Shane?
I don't.
Hold on. I want to go first.
Okay, go first. Go first.
I will admit I probably do have a little bit of bias because this is the first season I watched live. So it's always going to have that nostalgia for me. But take that away, this season's still great. Look at the characters you have on this season. And it's one of these seasons where it's not just dominated by, like, it's not like Gabon where it has all these characters and no gameplay. Like, you have all these characters and you have Suri, who's to me one of the best players to never win Survivor. You have Aris, you have Terry, you have Danielle, you have Shane. Like, you can see what's going on between, like, between all the characters, you could still see the gameplay. I think Terry, like to me, was like the first Survivor I fell in love with. I loved watching that guy play. I'm really upset he didn't end up winning the game, but I don't know. There's not much really, at least for me, to knock about this season. Maybe Aris is maybe not the best winner, but you can still see the good game that he played.
I'm gonna say like what James said. I think he's just a badly edited winner.
I think he kind of falls in the Ethan camp where he was like, Ethan said this, I think, before he went in, and this is no shot at coach. You want to be the assistant coach on Survivor, not the coach. Like, you want to be the number 2 person, so because that number 1 person gets taken out before you, and then it might look like lucky circumstances you win in the end. But I think like Aris did exactly what he had to do, and like he did survive. Like Kasaya was crazy. That is one of the craziest tribes we got because we started with the 4 tribes, like the old and young.
They did it by gender
men and
and
women.
age.
Yeah, with 4 people on each tribe, and then they shut that down quickly and swapped to the 2 tribes that they never came out of, and those tribes pretty much held strong at the merge. Like Terry pretty much had to keep winning immunities, and he had the super idol too, which was second time we saw the idol because right after Guatemala, but it was the first time it was used this way, and it was essentially a super idol. But there were 2 really strong sides in this season, but it was still really interesting because that Kasaya group was just, there was some whack jobs there, especially like Bruce and Shane and Courtney.
You put Kasai and Lamina against each other, it's 2 completely different worlds. Kasai has all the giant characters, the nut jobs, the Shanes, the Bobbies, and then you look at Lamina and they're boring as all hell.
Yeah.
You guys remember when Shane had Sari look at his
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite confessionals by Sari, is her trying to explain that story and just laughing the whole damn time.
Shane is straight out there on like nicotine withdrawal like the entire time and just going crazy.
He smoked like 3 packs a day before he went on Survivor.
Yeah. It's crazy he even made it that far, I think, to be honest.
Definitely.
Like, I think if that guy goes in most seasons, he's a pre-merge boot, but yeah.
So, Frank, you watched this recently. Go on about how you felt about a recent.
Yeah, get your hating ways out of the way.
I see. Again, I think there's only like 5 or 6 Survivor seasons I absolutely despise. It's from like 32-ish or something. I have to look at it, and like to like my like 22nd-ish, they're okay seasons. That's how I feel about this season. It's an okay season. Nothing I see. Mm-hmm. I don't like Aris. He's boring as shit.
As boring as his brother.
Yeah, at least he was a creeper and people made fun of him. And then we have Shane's fun, Cerie's fun. But I'm not a big Terry Dietz guy. He had a super idol. He won a bunch of challenges. That doesn't impress me none. Whoop-de-doo. He had this big self-entitlement himself throughout the season. Like, people should want to work with me because of me.
He's cocky.
Yeah, cocky as shit. And there's no reason to be cocky. He's not doing anything but winning challenges. To me, that's not impressive. Being cocky like Tony and controlling votes, that's impressive to me. Winning challenges, having a super idol, cool story, bro. I really don't care. So that's the reason why I just don't like Terry Dietz. I don't like Aris. I like Cirie. I like Shane. And that's it. It is a mess. You get some fun gameplay. You get some really good moves by Cirie for sure. But like the winner and one of the main characters, I just really don't like. So that's why it's where it's at. Like
Terry. I thought Terry is like one of the best physical Survivor players to ever play, and
that's not entertaining to me. I don't like that.
Yeah, and then Cirie's one of the best.
Then, that's what the edit focused around. You gotta remember, like, this was the era of like Terry, Ozzy, like these people that.
And
I
can't stand Ozzy either. I don't like Joe. I don't like Ozzy. I don't like Terry. I don't like those kind of players. They're boring. They're terrible players. Actually, I lied. Terry was playing really well in second chances. Until
it's
it
super
happened with his
unfortunate
son.
he went.
I think
And-
Terry played good on this too. He just didn't have the numbers at the merge, and
Yeah.
there was no way they were flipping people, and he just had
It's
to
old
keep
school
winning
Survivor. You don't
challenges.
really see you don't see that many power
Yeah.
shifts.
But
Yeah.
like I think Terry had really good potential, but he was just so arrogant for reasons I didn't understand. I was like, dude, why should these people work with you so they can lose to you? And he's
Yeah.
like, you guys are playing a shady game, and I just don't like people. I don't like people snubbing their nose at people for playing the game. I just don't.
Frank, I'm gonna do to you what I did to Amanda last time about Marquesas. So here's some seasons that you think are better than Panama.
Okay.
You think Triple H is better.
Yes.
God.
More blindside.
Oh.
You think
More fun.
You think 43 is better. You think Edge of
Yes.
Extinction is better.
Yes.
Edge of
You think
Extinction.
You think
I
Game
can see.
Changers is better.
Yes.
Okay, I'll fight for Game Changers.
I definitely think all those are better. For one, I think besides Edge, I enjoy the winners. I guess
Triple H.
Enabler.
Triple H being better is
That's
crazy.
that's the worst.
Triple H is
That's
so
the
much
worst of them
fun
all.
before like
Triple H.
even the if Ben loses at Final Four or when he's voted out without fire, this season is remembered for being a wild ride. The only reason why people despise it is because of the fire twist and Ben winning. If Ben loses
Let's do
at
it.
4, it changes everybody's perspective of this season.
I don't hate the season because Ben won. I hate that production let him win.
All right,
Because we
talked
know-
about 35.
We're
already.
over
Yeah,
that.
we
Yeah,
talked
we're
about
over that.
35.
But anyways, that's how I feel. Anybody else have anything to say about Panama? I don't think it's a bad season.
I'm with Michael a little bit. It's a little nostalgic for me. I remember watching this season live and really enjoying it.
Yeah.
I remember enjoying it during the rewatch time, so I know I've seen it at least twice. I would give it another rewatch. I would give it a rewatch before I would Guatemala. No
I
offense.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
I also do think this kicked off like a really great stretch of Survivor if you take Fiji out, because you have this,
Yeah.
you have Cook Islands, you have China, and you have Micronesia. After this, it's just there's so much
I don't
good
even
Survivor
mind
coming up.
Fiji.
All the Fiji's terrible. You've those seasons I just mentioned. We haven't gotten to any of them yet. Unless
See,
we
I'm
added
with you. I think that the stretch between my personally 9 and 20 is amazing. There's not a single season I would skip. I would be completely cool with watching it all the way through from 9 to 20
You're insane.
for sure.
All
right.
right.
Let's
Go
move
ahead.
on to number 19. We're actually all really, really close together on this one.
Okay.
Amanda and Frank both had this at 18. I had this season at 21, and James had it at 23. Coming in at 19 is season 19 Survivor Samoa.
Oh, I did the lowest, you said?
You had this the lowest at 23.
I'm surprised. Okay.
Now, granted, it's all they had it 18 and I had it 21, so we're all really close together.
We're all
at
I think we're all right around the right spot for this. Anyone want to go first and feel particularly
I'll go
strong
first.
here?
Yeah,
But
go ahead.
so obviously this season is just dominated by Russell Hantz in terms of screen time, in terms of gameplay, in terms of idols, advantages, everything. It's the Russell show. And if you don't like Russell Hantz, you're gonna hate this season. But my thing is I loved watching Russell play. And that's going from start to finish, even including Final Tribal. He played like an asshole.
He is an asshole.
He didn't care whose feelings he hurt. He didn't care what he had to do. He was going to play the best game he could, and get to the end and just expect to win. And I think he got exactly what was coming to him when he lost. Now, I do agree he should have won, but this is not a Robin Amber situation with Natalie. Natalie knew, she's like, okay, I can work off of this when that Final Tribal started. I don't think she really earned it. I think they just took it away from him. But you can make the argument of why she won, and that's why this doesn't drop for me like All Stars did.
Okay.
I'm the greatest survivor.
Hold on,
of
one
all
more thing,
time.
James. I do also love that Foa went into the merge down 8-4 numbers, and the Galoo just fucking fell apart.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was glorious television to watch.
We love watching when the minority comes into the majority. It may take 5 or 6 rounds sometimes, but
They just ate each other alive.
yeah.
And
Galoo
John
was a bunch
Fisher
of
is a moron.
morons.
And I
Galoo
will
was
go
a
like
bunch of
saying
morons.
that. Go ahead, James.
All right, so like you said, obviously, this is it's Russell, so everybody else gets completely under-edited this season. So we don't get to see a lot from people who make it far and even the winner. And then Brett, who had a very good chance of winning, who got fourth place. Like, we didn't see much from him at all. But it's just, to me, even if you don't love Russell, it's a fascinating story because, like, the way the FOA 4 overcame that shit at like a 12 person merge or 13
It was
person
the
merge.
first 12-person merge. They went down 8-4.
8-4, yeah,
And the
and
four of them got the final 5.
they overcame those odds and got to the final 5, and that alone is crazy. Along with Russell's idol plays and idol finds, he was the first person to find the idols without clues and stuff. So
He did it twice.
that really did change a lot of stuff. And I mean, he did play great out there. It did give him even more of the massive ego he has today, and like kind of even build up more into him being even more of an asshole. And it's kind of crazy to me that, like, we'll talk about this later, but he lost strictly because of, I wouldn't even say just jury management, more so than just people just didn't like him. Like, they just didn't like him. I think it's more than jury management.
Yeah, I agree with you, James. Like, in this season, like, and we'll get to heroes versus villains, but in that season, he actually is an asshole straight to people's face, like hardcore in heroes versus villains. In this season,
Yeah.
he's not quite that. He's that in the confessionals,
Exactly.
but we don't see that face to face interaction, like calling people dumbasses or anything like that. He does that in heroes versus villains. He doesn't do that in Samoa. I do think he makes a mistake with not jury managing the final 5 on very well. Blindsiding your own tribe mate at that point is just a bad look. Somebody you're
yeah,
close
but he
with.
was losing anyway.
Yeah, but like it's just something like that, like sitting down, like, hey, I got to take this, explaining to him, could have maybe secured a vote for him. Would it have? Maybe not. But the way blindsiding somebody you've been working with this entire time at 5 is just not a good look, especially for it's just not a good look. But I do think there's the highs are so much high. You get some great idol plays, great blind sides. Like just the crumbling of one dominant tribe is just it's insane to me. Like it's almost impossible what they did getting to final 5 all together. And I enjoy Russell as a character, especially this season. He's more of an asshole in his second time around, but in this one, he's more of a character, and he does make good connections with people. That's why they want to stick with him.
Remember his Dumbass Girls Alliance?
Dumbass Girls Alliance. Like I said, he does that in the confessionals. He doesn't say it to their faces like he does in Heroes vs. Villains.
It's like he told everyone he told everyone that he was a firefighter and he lost his home in Hurricane Katrina, and then in the confessional you see him go, I ain't never lived in New Orleans. Like,
I never lived in New Orleans, and he probably had more money than every person out there.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a lot of fun.
His German Shepherd drowned in like the in the hurricane, and he goes, I never had a German Shepherd either. Like, it was like
Biggs watched him, and he was like, "This is what I want to do."
About to say something about
Biggs watched Samoans like, "I'm bringing this in to my org life."
And I feel like
so
this
the Galoo
season's
tribe,
bit...
there were 6 Galoo that went in a row starting at the merge.
No,
Eric,
7.
Kelly, Laura, John, Dave, Monica, Shambo. And then it was Jason, which was from FOA. Then Brett was the last Galoo left.
Yeah, Brett won immunity.
Yeah, the jury was the 8 Galoos who made merge plus Jason. But what was I had one? Oh, so I'm like how Amanda said, like Palau is like part 1 to Guatemala. I feel like this season is kind of part 1 to Heroes versus Villains to get that full Russell story. Because I feel like if you just watch Heroes versus Villains without watching Samoa, you have no idea what Russell's all about.
What I do love though is if
And
you do watch Heroes versus Villains, you're kind of getting the same look of them as the players in the game because they don't know who Russell is or where
I
he's
was just
from.
about to say that.
Really? Yeah. So it's kind of cool watching it both ways. You can watch it without watching Samoa and kind of see that, being surprised with the players about Russell, or you can be in on all the intel and know exactly how he's playing it.
We're going to get into that when we get to Heroes versus Villains, but
we're going to talk like a half an hour about that season.
But yeah, I think Samoa is a fun ride all the way through.
I agree.
Yeah.
Like every time I've watched it, I think 3 or 4 times. I've loved it each time.
Yeah, it's just a fun ride. It's not on the upper echelon, but it's definitely like I could put it on and be like, okay, I'm ready. I'm gonna watch a fun Survivor season. And that's what it is. A fun.
And I feel like you still get that gameplay that you're looking for, even with all these people and like with Russell there. You're not going to get like these terrible players. Well, I take that back, but
yeah. But I love Shambo's FTC question though. That was funny.
Was it Feckless?
Feckless.
God, Mick was such a douche.
Oh, Mick was horrible.
Yeah.
Also, Eric's final travel speech made me want to shoot myself.
Oh my god.
He's cringe too.
Yeah.
I mean, he got sacrificed before like his tribe even got played and got tricked into like turning on themselves. So that shows you how strong of a game he was.
The show really put that was Natalie's move who made that happen.
Mm-hmm.
She went to the girls of Galoo to be like, hey, let's just get Eric out, and then Russell played the idol to get Kelly out, and it was just all downhill from there for Galoo.
Yes, they did highlight that for Natalie. That was Natalie's move, and Russell was skeptical, and she's like, "Dude, just trust me, relax."
And he wasted the idol.
And he wasted the idol.
Fincher made one of the all-time dumb moves by flipping on and going home next after.
Just go to Rocks, dude.
Dude, you have to. Like, if you go to Rocks, and you come out on top of that, you actually like have a compelling argument, like how you've played the game and stuff. Instead,
could you imagine if they went to Rocks and Russell went home that night?
Oof.
Yeah.
How different the season goes.
Or anyone from Foa going home, really.
Well, it would have been
also too the elements
who was immune. Who was immune that night?
I believe
it rained a lot that season.
Was it Jason?
They were like rough with elements that season.
Oh, how Russell was like burning Jason's socks and stuff.
Yeah,
that was insane. Hold on, I'm looking up now because that was Laura who went home. Mick had immunity.
Yeah.
So the odds would have been.
So Mick had immunity. Natalie was the one who they voted for. So it was Russell, Jason, or Shambo who voted with Foa.
But like Fincher goes home next anyway. So like, what is there to
every
lose?
fucking person saw that coming a mile away. They all knew Russell was gonna fuck him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think either way, from 23 to 18 where we had it, I think any of those spots is a good spot for Samoa.
Mm-hmm. I think it landed in the perfect spot.
Yeah. All right. Let's go.
This next season, again, we're all kind of actually not as close as I thought we were. Frank, you had this the highest at number 13. James, you have it the lowest at 24. I have it slightly above you at 22. Amanda has it slightly below Frank at 14. It's season 29, Survivor San Juan del Sur.
Okay,
I'm going to let Frank go.
Yeah. So this is the first season of Survivor I've seen. Just to put it out there, I didn't watch it all the way through. This is the first Survivor season I've seen, and I caught it around. I want to say like I missed the first quarter of the season, so I'm coming into it. They're like at the swap area, and we get to merge, and Natalie just goes on this tear, and she does this boss move after boss move after boss move, and I'll never forget watching her go to Baylor or go up there and say, I'm play this idol, and she said, Baylor, did you vote for her? I told you, and she wanted to vote Baylor out. She played the idol. Baylor went home. It gave me such chills, and I get chills every time I see it. I love that play, so flashy in front of the jury. It's a good play. I understand the move. Everyone understands the move. So I don't know. I just love Natalie. Natalie's my favorite female winner. she's probably top 3, 4-ish winner, or like for my favorites. I don't know like gameplay wise, but like my personal favorites, I think she is a great player. Uh, and she just entertained me. Seeing Jeremy get blindsided, seeing all the blindsides at the merge were killer. Now I get the pre-merge is a little bit of a drag, but the merge is killer and I really enjoy it. So having a great winner who does great flashy gameplay moves is this recipe for me to love the season.
I'll go next, but so I will just start off by saying I think the pre-merge was maybe one of the worst pre-merges I've seen, with the exception of that Drew Christie episode, which that was
great.
Gold. But like, what was there really to enjoy? Like John Rocker being there wasn't this big cool thing like Survivor thought it was. He's a terrible person. And just there was a lot of nastiness with that. Thank God he went out when he did. And then we get a quit right at merge. So basically the merge episode is basically 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Before we actually get a tribal there. And also that quit messes up what happens for the game because Jeremy was going home that night. But that quit gave it extra time. And that's when Josh ended up going home. But this does shoot right up there once Josh goes home because it could have been so predictable with the Jeremy win and Jeremy goes home immediately.
Yep.
That's probably one of the most shocking things that I've seen on Survivor watching an episode from week to week. Where I'm going to them like, okay, Jeremy's just going to steamroll. Like, it'll probably be Reed or Keith going home that night. And then when Jeremy's gone at the end of the episode, I'm sitting there like, well, now fucking what? Like, the whole game was wide open at that point. And you can kind of see the wheels turn for Natalie as she's watching John kind of climb up as she's, like, plotting how to get him out. And watching her just go on a run at the end was awesome. I think she's like a top 15, 20 winner to me. I loved watching her this season, especially when her sister is the first boot and she goes on all the way to win. I just think that's an amazing story. And also coming into this season, there's only 8 women to the 10 men, and then there ends up being 3 women at the final 3. I think that's really cool to see too.
This was supposed to be a 20-person cast, in case you guys didn't know, and a pair dropped out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a woman pair, and they couldn't replace them, so they just started with 18 people.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's a decent season. Like Michael said, the pre-merge isn't very good. So this was a season that fell in the time where I wasn't watching Survivor live. It was in a period when I stopped watching. So it was one of those ones I went back and watched in 2019 for the very first time. And it was one of the ones I wasn't spoiled on the winner at all. So I had no idea who won. But I just remember it being hard to get into at first because I had just watched so many seasons and the pre-merge was just so boring. And I hated John Rocker to begin with. I don't know how they asked him to go because he was literally one of the most despicable baseball players ever too. Like, I don't know who thought it was a good idea to cast him, but it was good that he went as early as he did. But him and his girlfriend felt just like a wasted pair out there. But for the most part, we did get some good players and some great characters to make the merge. And I mean, like you said, the first 2 votes, we get blindsides. And then when Wes goes home, we get the whole stick to the plan tribal, which was one of the, I think, fantastic tribal councils and great moment. And this was full of really good tribals and really good moments, I think, in the post-merge. And Natalie, like, she completely, like, outsmarted anybody that got in her way, basically. Like John, I think when Jeremy went home, John thought that was his game to lose, but, like, Natalie basically saw how this, like, no, that's not going to happen. I'm going to run this shit to the end. And she really did. And she kicked ass out there.
And also just remember too, this season is coming off of Cagayan.
Yeah.
So that makes it even like that pre-merge being as bad as it was at the start just makes it even worse.
Yeah, and I think I watched it right after Cagayan because I was kind of watching them in the order I missed it. So maybe that's like kind of why it dragged from the beginning. And like another thing is Wentworth ends up being like my favorite player from 31, but like we hardly saw anything from her in this season. Like she was one of those people that said, why do we need her to come back? But Like we didn't see much from her,
Right.
and then I mean the Drew Christie blindside, like you said, was great, but besides that, there's not too much to remember here. And it was nice seeing a Blood versus Water that didn't involve Redemption Island, even though it kind of worked the first time. It was refreshing
Exile this
for them
season.
to not do the same thing. Yeah,
I did like Exile Island coming back.
Exile
me
was
too.
better. Yeah,
I think it was the first time since
Tokajins.
Yeah. Tokajins. So you guys covered a lot of the season already. I really like the cast this season. I do like a cast of Blood versus Water that isn't, past survivors. I think it gives a new element to the game that is natural a feeling instead of the old contestants wanting to outdo their last game. They actually don't have any other game to base off of. So I do like that. There's a couple of characters I actually like this season more than other people. Like I like Baylor this season. I liked Wes this season.
I like Wes.
I like Wes too. I know, like I'm Schaefer. So I mean, I think it's enjoyable. I think that there's some characters on here that are absolutely dog shit, like John Rocker and his wife. Like, why were they even on there in the first place? Just really awful. I don't know, choices. They could have done way better, huh?
You know what I say? I say stick to the plan.
What the hell?
Yeah, that's what I said when you were gone. I said that was one
Keith
of the
Nail was amazing. He's
great
amazing any
problem.
season he's on. I like Jeremy too this season. He was really good. I just thought, and Nally, like Frank said, is a dominating winner. She just ran that shit all the way to the end with a physical and strategic player. And I feel like it's a good combination when you have it. But yeah, you guys covered a lot of the season already. I think it's one of those seasons that I need to rewatch because Kagyan is in the middle of those two Blood versus Water seasons. And I feel like Kagyan obviously outshines both of them by a long shot. So you have like the dud of 26, you have 27, the amazing of 28, and then you have 29 again. And I don't know, I feel like it's almost like exhausting to watch almost in a way because it's so much at once. You have like Philippines, 26, which is a returner season, 27, which is Blood versus Water, Kagyan, one of the best, probably the best starter season ever. 29, another Blood versus Water, then you got Worlds Apart. So I don't know, I feel like it's a lot and one good stretch and kind of get lost in it. Other than that, I think it's a really, really great season, great winner.
I also do think it's good that the worst part of the season is at the beginning.
Yeah.
Even though it sucks that when the start of a season drags, it just gets so much better as you keep going. If you are exhausted coming off of Blood versus Water and Kagyan, like that's a little bit of and then when Rocker goes home, that's kind of when the season starts taking off.
Yeah.
Oh, and also we didn't discuss that Hunapu tribe at the start. My God, they were a hot mess.
Oh
You
God.
had them losing the flint, eating all of their rice by day 12?
And then they were
Oh,
begging
yeah.
to
They had to give away their
begging to
entire
trade their
camp,
fishing
the bag of
supplies.
rice.
Yeah.
They had to give
That
away
was-
all
Jeff
the
was
fishing
not
supplies to
about
get rid
it.
of the flint, and then they found their other flint, and then tried to negotiate it back.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was
bullshit for the
so
people who got
good.
swapped onto that tribe who wasn't eating all that rice.
I
Oh,
felt so bad.
They totally got screwed over. For one, they were losing all the challenges because they were rationing out their rice.
They were playing the
Then
game the way they should.
Yeah, and then they get over there. There's no rice, and now they lose their whole camp because of people ate the rice that you weren't a part of. Like that'd be terrible.
Absolutely. And Jeff called
And
him
then-
out for it too. He's like, the only reason why you guys are winning is because you're eating double the amount as the other tribe.
And then remember that when Missy gets swapped over to Calliope, she's trying to eat all that rice too.
Yeah,
And then Dale's like, "No, you got to ration this." And of course, Missy does what the fuck she wants.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
hate
I
Missy.
hated her so much.
She's one of the all-time, like, I feel like doesn't get talked about as much as like biggest goats, like worst people to make the end of the game.
I loved Reed's FTC speech to her.
Yeah, same.
All right,
All right.
let's go to number 17.
All right. This one's another kind of big gap between this one. No, Amanda and James both had this the highest at number 13. I had it at 17. Frank had it all the way down at 28.
Jesus, Frank.
Season 10, Survivor Palau.
Boy.
Look, I don't understand how you guys have it this high. It's an absolute demolishing. There's no swings. It's literally a demolishing from like start to finish. And it's not even a fun one.
It's like, but it is though. Like it is though, because
Yeah.
like, you see it and you're like, God, this is the week. This is the week they're gonna turn around and they're gonna do it, and they just fucking don't.
It
And they do
doesn't-
that every
yeah.
single week, and you're just like, and then there's a point in time when you're rooting against them at this point. because they can't do anything fucking right. And then Stephanie is just like trying her fucking hardest to get one W. Her morale is so low. And then she gets onto the merge by herself, damn near.
It's not a merge.
It's not. No, it's an absorption.
It's absorbing.
It's definitely an absorption. It's just, I think, and then you have the duo of Ian and Tom, and then the final three there. I think Palau is like an entertainment gold season. I think it's got great characters. It's got a great storyline. You understand why Tom wins. Like, I don't know why you have it so low.
Again, I don't like these physical dominating winners. They're just boring. Tom's a boring player. He's a boring player.
See, I don't think Tom didn't win because he was this dominant physical person. He had complete control over everybody.
The whole game.
And his social game was amazing, especially for his age.
And the people who dominate the seasons, like Kim, like Rob, are at the back of your guys' rankings. What's different from this season?
The characters.
Don't look at me.
The storyline.
That's not true for me. I have one world high.
Yeah, you're wrong for it. But that scene of after that fire making challenge between Steph and Bobby John, and where Stephanie has to go back to camp by herself. That scene of her just trying to go back to camp, make a fire, and like that's just like so like you don't see that on Survivor.
It's so real.
You will never see it again. A tribe go down to one person.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, like I remember like the tribals being so dark and like so just like intense and like, you know, you could feel like the misery of them. I don't know.
Look, the season wasn't spoiled for me. I got into it, I started watching it, and it just felt like it felt like it dragged. I felt like all this tribe just keeps dominating, destroying them, and it was embarrassing. Like it wasn't like they were winning easily, like close and close. They won those handily, a lot of them, and it was just.
I think this is a season that could have benefited from a swap more than like any other. Probably. Because of just the drag you got, the demolishing in the pre-merge that Oolong took. But like it was interesting week to week, and even watching this as like a fourth grader at the time, and then on the rewatch I did in 2019, it was interesting to see what was going to happen and who was going to take control on the mess of a tribe that Oolong was. And then with Karor, is that what it was? Karor, right? Is that the name of them? Yeah. With Karor, like they only had to vote Willard out with the double tribal. So we basically, you saw that Tom and Ian were kind of like running things, but besides that, they didn't really fully know who they could trust until a very late portion of the game because they just didn't have to go to that many tribals. And like
they didn't really go to any. They go to tribal to final 9.
Yeah. So and then Kobe goes at the merge, and then you get the Janu basically like quit, and then Stephanie goes, and then it's time for them to like pick each other off. And I do think, like Amanda said earlier, like you're waiting for something to happen, and it kind of just doesn't. But like you do eventually see Ian and Tom turn on each other, and that does make it really interesting. But like at a certain point, you just know that like one of the two of these guys is going to win the game. It's just who's it going to be. But I happen to really enjoy both of them, and I loved this version of Stephanie LaGrossa. Like I think she was amazing this time around, and there is some nostalgia for me here too. But this is really the last you could say true old school season, because there was no hidden immunity idol, and then there was no swap. But we did start the season with 20 people, and 2 of them not even get picked to play.
I forgot to mention that. That irritates me. Automatically downgrade. That's bullshit. Ridiculous. You just drag these people out. They probably had them there for a week or two before they set up the game, just for them to be picked off. They didn't even get a chance to play. It's just ridiculous. It's just like you ruin somebody's dream off of like 5 minutes first impressions. It's just so bad. I
feel like especially when you lead into Guatemala, I feel like had had Oolong not been as bad as they were and Steph and Bobby John be the last two there, I feel like probably Jonathan and Wanda would have been the two returning.
That's what was going to happen,
Mhm.
and then CBS and Probst and Mark Burnett just fell too in love with the idea of bringing Stephanie and Bobby John back. They thought it was more compelling TV than those two would have been. So
I mean, I agree.
that's what got them
Huge.
to
I
nix
mean, they're
that.
huge
Yeah.
after that season. Stephanie was it was like a household name with how popular Survivor was back then.
Yeah, you have the pretty lady going on Survivor doing really well. Of course, she's gonna be popular.
Mhm.
And it was only 2 years after like Pearl Islands. Like it's Survivor's still popping and hot back then.
All right. Want to
Alright.
move on to number 16?
Mm-hmm. Let's see who has the bad take this time.
Oh God.
I think I might
yeah.
know what this is.
Actually, I can say Amanda, but it's not really that low. I do have it the highest at 14. Frank has it at 16. James has it at 19. Amanda has it at 21. It's Survivor 42.
Well, who wants to start? I guess I'll start.
I love how all of us hate a New Age Survivor.
I don't hate it. I have them all ranked.
I think I
Decent.
have them pretty decently ranked, all of them.
Yeah,
So 42 was a lot of fun. We did get the stupid twist that we did in 41. They were a little less egregious though. I mean, I guess I don't know. I think the
You say that
characters
because
were
we knew they
better.
were coming.
Yeah, that also helped. I think the characters were better as well.
The cast in this season was way better. Yeah,
Way better.
Definitely.
We had Marianne, we had Mike, we had Jonathan, we just had a stat cast. We had Omer.
Hi.
What?
Hi.
Yeah.
Lindsay.
Yeah. It was just there was I think
Double first boot, Jackson Zach.
yeah, I think
Shout out Tony Ford.
Yeah.
For that draft.
I can't. This is the season This is the season we did the draft and Tony picked the first 3 boots.
Literally. Has he played with us again since?
No.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I think it's
Dead.
harder to do what he did than to predict the final 3.
Oh
To be
yeah.
honest with you.
Like the fact that you're trying to pick good players and you pick the first 3
the
boots.
first
Like,
3 boots, and he only gets 3
Crazy.
picks.
That was crazy. And
It's not
Jenny's
like-
so robbed. Jenny was so robbed.
Yeah, it was just a lot of fun. We had a lot of, like I said, the twists we knew were coming, so it was a little less irritating, I guess. I do
And they
love the
took
characters,
Hourglass out, so that's good.
yes. And I
They
do.
still had do or die. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I fucking hate
they
that.
had Hourglass this season.
They did have Hourglass. They
They
took it
did
out
have-
40.
Yeah, that's right. Roxroy fucking went and played alone.
Yeah, look, if Roxroy's gonna smash the Hourglass, everyone's gonna smash the Hourglass.
Literally.
Remember
You
we
guys know
actually
how
thought he
crazy
wasn't
that
gonna do
Daniel
it?
tribal was?
Yeah. The Daniel
Which-
Oh
tribal.
God, that was the
Tribal?
green. Their tribe was a mess when they.
A
Yeah.
mess. Oh my goodness. What
I remember watching that from the hotel room, being like mouth open, jaw open, like, oh my God. Yeah. Like,
well,
I can't
what's her
believe this is happening.
I don't understand why she gave up her vote. Like that's the dumbest thing I've ever
So
Yeah.
stupid.
so dumb.
She got
After
so
she
much
told
flack for
Omer,
that.
hey, I'm not gonna risk my vote because I need my vote tonight. And then she goes and risks her vote. Like it's just the
Yeah.
craziest thing. I put all the blame on her. If she came to me and Daniel found that out, I'm jumping ship immediately. I'm getting
Yeah.
off that train. She just screwed us over. We had all the power and she screwed us over. I would have hopped on another train immediately. She would have been left.
And don't forget that's when we got the infamous high meme.
Oh yeah.
I need to. Keslin's the only person I know who keeps it saved. I need to start getting it from him again.
I think one of the crazy things that it doesn't totally get talked about enough, but I think Omar like completely controlled at least the early portion of the merge, and even that tribal where he didn't even have a vote. I think that was really impressive to
Mhm.
see his strategy out there. and then obviously Marianne winning and making the moves exactly when she needed to strike. Like, she was being overlooked for a while, and she showed people she was there to play, and she deserved the win. Even
Don't forget
though I
Mike
think,
having one all-time horrible final tribal.
yeah, even
Yeah.
though Mike played a great game, I think I don't think there's any chance he should have won with the way final tribal went.
God, that was
Marianne knew the perception of her. Mike did not. That's the big
Yes.
story of FTC, where Marianne played up to the people's expectations.
She knew what she had to do. Mike
knew
thought he
exactly
could
what
just
she'd
get away
do.
with what he was doing.
And she
Mike
had that
literally was
denial issue.
arguing with them, saying, "No, you're wrong. I was loyal." After he voted them out, like, bro, you were not loyal to me.
You're not
You
loyal
voted
to
me
me.
out. How were you
Yeah.
loyal to me? He's like, well, you were unloyal to me first. How? You voted me out.
If Mike had went into that final tribal and said, "Yeah, I screwed you all over because it was better for my game," I think he would have much better chance to win.
Yes, I think
So-
he might have won.
It was a very similar feeling to Coach's final tribal council. I think that's what it gets
Mhm.
compared to a
A
lot.
lot of people have
where
compared those.
They had the game in the bag if they had just owned their shit at the
and they
end.
fumbled it.
Instead, as Frank would say, Mike was the hero of his own story, and that was it.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I love Mike. Like, it didn't leave a sour taste in my mouth, but like, I was rooting for Mike, but I like fully after watching that, I'm like, Marianne totally deserves that. But some of me felt like, what are you doing, Mike? Like, you did play this great game, and you just completely just fumbled the bag.
And that's where I could blame Mike. I can't really blame the jury because Mike didn't give them a reason to want to vote for him.
Exactly.
But you're sitting up there and trying to bullshit the jury at final tribal, like, it's not going to work, bud.
No.
Now,
if Mike would have sat there and owned his game and then they voted for Marianne, I think that's could leave a better taste in your mouth.
Right.
Yeah, but the fact that Mike went up there and tried to bullshit it, I'm like, okay, dude, yeah, you don't deserve it if you're going to try and pull this. But I will also say that's why I think Marianne was a good winner. If for some unknown reason Romeo won this season,
Oh God.
Oh,
God.
talk about he probably
about
is the
rock
biggest
and
new age goat.
Oh,
That's what I said. He is for sure.
I think Owen's right there with them.
Yeah, Frank said Owen. No, I think Romeo's a bigger goat.
I think
than
just
Owen.
on likability, Owen's better.
Okay, I'll give you that. I think
Owen didn't play a good game at all, but he didn't have luck. Luck was not on his side at all either. Like, he tried to do shit.
Romeo just chose not to do anything.
Exactly. Romeo was content with being a third placer out there.
I think the 41, 42, 43 0 vote finalists played absolutely terrible. I think 44 Carolyn played a little better than those three.
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
she did.
She did.
Maybe not that Xander and Carolyn.
Xander played better than her.
I don't know.
they're
Xander
both-
had no idea what the hell was going on for half the game.
I think
But, like-
Deshaun played terrible too as a second placer in 41.
Yeah,
He
I
played
think-
terrible.
I think he had a
I
total
would say
FTC
this
too.
season had a lot of really good women. We had like
The season was great. The cast
yeah,
was
we
The
really
cast
had
top to
Marianne,
bottom was
Lindsay,
excellent.
Brea, Tori, like a lot of really good women this season.
And they're so close. Man, remember when we went to Hearts of Reality? How there was so many of them there, and they were all so tight too.
yeah, they were all very, very close. Dude, I love
See,
Tori. She's like
and
one
like
of my
the
favorite
She's
players.
so
The
hot.
crazy thing is, like, I guess the pre-merge portion of the game, maybe like early merge, you think High is like the best player and like the best player out there, like biggest threat to win and stuff, and then he goes out like 8th place, and then there's maybe like 3 or 4 other people that prove that they're just as good or better than High. Like, it just shows you the level of gameplay and the casting for this season is what we needed for the new era. And I
You
think
got the same thing in 43 with Carla.
if this
Carla
fell in
and
40
Sky have very similar games and stories.
if this fell more along the lines of 43 and 44 where there wasn't as many bullshit gimmicky
It's probably
like
higher.
twists, it would be higher.
Yeah.
The twist definitely didn't help the season. The
No.
cast made the season better when the twist tried to make it worse. I really, like I said, I think this cast is probably the best. It's easily the best new era cast,
Oh, by far.
and I like 3/4 of them can come back, and I'd be okay.
Oh, definitely.
I
Yeah,
think
and
if they
Almost
do,
the whole cast could come back because even Zach is like a staple in the Survivor community, even though he's the first boot.
yeah, he can. But
Just saying.
like, if we do like like Survivor New Era All Stars at whatever point, I could feel like half of that cast could be from.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It'll be like Cook Islands in season 16. It's like half the cat, literally half the
I
cast.
think-
Or Australian Outback in the original All Stars.
Yeah.
I'll add one more thing. Like I think maybe I have them closer together than they probably should be, but it's total recency bias and crazy for people to say that 44 is better than 42 because it's not.
It's not. I agree.
And some people were saying that.
Like to me, this
How is it better?
this is like there's such a big gap between this and 44, and like to me, there's a
Yeah,
big
I
gap
think-
between 44 and the other two.
Like I said, my gap isn't that wide right now. I don't think like in the terms of my rankings, but I've also I've seen this season 1.5 times because I watched the close to the end of it with my brother when he was watching it live. And then 44 I've only seen one time, obviously. So I think this one I think as time goes, the gap could widen even more. But yeah.
Good season, really good season. Easily the best of the new era, in
Yeah.
my opinion. And I hope we get to see a lot of these players play again.
I agree.
All
All right.
Is that it?
No, we're on to 15.
Oh, where are we going to again?
We got 3
12,
more.
We got
Oh, goodness. We got to hurry.
We have 15,
Poor
14,
Frank's
13,
get like
12.
3 hours of sleep.
I don't work tomorrow.
Oh, word. Okay.
yeah.
So, at number 15, there's a decent gap here. Frank is the highest on this season. He had it all the way up at number 12. Where can I find it on here? There it is. Frank had it at 12. Amanda had it at 15. I had it at 16. James had it at 21. Season 32, Survivor Co. Wrong.
Oh, James, you have it that low?
I mean, I think
I mean,
it's
when he has Guatemala up there, that's.
I mean, I think it's decent. I don't think there's anything like spectacular about this season.
The
Like
worst
I think
part of
it's
the season is the
it's
winner.
a good season. It's a good season.
Hater.
It's not fantastic. There's 3 medevacs that brings a lot of it down for me because there's just not as many a lot of the bigger votes get taken away because of the medevacs and stuff. So like I think the gameplay drags a little bit from that, but I think there were a lot of still memorable people, especially the very, very hot final 2 debate. I feel like it's one of the most torn things this Survivor community is torn on is who should have won that season. There's a large camp of people that think it should have been Aubrey. There's a large camp that think it should have been Michelle. I am pretty much in the middle. I can see the argument for either of them. I think you really had to be out there. So I think that's what it comes down to for me. But I don't think Aubrey got completely robbed, and I don't think Michelle was like some unworthy winner that certain people thought she was. And we did have moments on this season. Scott and Jason, I think, were great villains. They really added some to the story.
Mhm.
Sydney and Ty were both pretty good. Like I said, this season it's solid. I just don't think it's like fantastic. I think the season that comes after it I like more, and I kind of put those two together because I watched them also not live and right back to back, and I just liked that one a little bit more, but I still did enjoy this.
Now, remember this season's coming off a second chance,
Mhm.
and it's right before Millennials versus Gen X. So it's kind of right in between 2 really good seasons. So I'm surprised that people are as high on it as I am because I love this season.
I do too.
My thing is, like James said, the medevacs really hurt it because look when they happened. 15 right before they were going to originally swap, the merge vote, and final 5. Like those are 3 huge votes before in a game, and they're just gone.
Yeah.
And you also have to remember at the merge, like if Neil doesn't get medevac, Aubrey goes home that night. And at final 5, if Joe doesn't get medevac, I think Michelle goes home that night.
Michelle or Sydney
So
go home that night.
These
Probably
2
Michelle.
people that everyone are fighting over for who should have won the season. If the medevacs had happened, they both wouldn't have made it there.
Yeah.
So like you can say like, oh, Michelle got there because luck. Well, so did fucking Aubrey.
Yeah.
And as much as like I loved watching Scott and Jason, and I think it was great watching when Scott went home with Jason's idol. That was just like perfect
television.
Like, you could not have scripted that better. That's how those two story went down. So, but I've listened to I forget whose podcast it was, but Jason was on it right after the finale of Co Wrong. He talked about how at Final Tribal Aubrey did nothing to present her game, and that's why he voted for Michelle. But he said watching it back, if he could redo his vote, he probably would have voted for Aubrey. So that's why you can't kill that jury for voting for Michelle, because if Aubrey didn't present her game, that's her problem. That's not the jury's problem. The jury can't see what's going on.
So
I think Michelle's a very deserving winner of this season. You also had the removing a juror twist, which absolutely benefited her, because Neil would have pounded the table for Aubrey, and then you should just pluck him right off.
Yep.
I can't stand that one.
I don't mind that twist at all. Actually,
that's a rough.
I don't like it, but I mean, she got it and she made it work for her.
Right. I don't blame her for doing what she did. She did the correct move. She did not I'm not blaming Michelle for doing the move. I just don't want to see that, because I say this a lot in orgs. You need that person, that jury champion in that jury house or that jury chat back in your game. If you don't have that, it's very hard to win these games. If you don't have somebody in those chats or in that chat or in the jury house talking about your game, boosting you up, it's hard to completely sway people at FTC. Is it impossible? No, but it helps when somebody's there. Like, she's correct or he's correct. Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. If there's not that person saying that, if they're discrediting you the whole time, it hurts you. So I feel like losing the jury member is a big one. But this is right when I started watching every single week. Was Second Chances, then this, then Millennials versus Gen X. And I just remember loving these 3 seasons so much. I had so much fun.
It is a good stretch.
Yes. And I just completely fell in love with it. I did watch a little bit after Cell on Disturb, but I was a casual fan. Like, I watched here or there if it was on. But when I fully started watching every single week was Second Chances, Kyle Wrong, Millennials, Gen X. Those 3 seasons where I was like, this is the show for me. I'm watching it. I love it. The medevacs do come at a, not a good ports in the game, but that's part of the game, unfortunately. The Joe one was weird. Like he couldn't shit, so he had to get taken out of the game.
Yeah.
And then you have Caleb's medevac where the dude nearly dies out there.
It was so hot, like I said, in Cambodia.
He went down, Debbie went down, and Sydney went down.
Yeah.
But like he literally was like probably a couple minutes away from being dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The characters this season were great. Debbie is just one of those kooky characters. God. You had Aubrey, you had Michelle, you had Scott and Jason, and Scott getting the big comeuppance with the idol play from Ty. And he's looking at him, he's all cocky. He's like trying to
he's got his hand out waiting for you to have the
with like half a smirk. Like,
that was great.
He's like, you're not going to give it to me? He goes, no. He goes, wow.
As much as I think it would have benefited Ty to go further with Scott and Jason, when Jason hands Scott that half of the idol, I think Ty was completely in the right to vote Scott out that night.
Absolutely.
I'm going to take him out, and I'm going to take the idol out with him.
And I feel like the person who got the most hate at the jury that didn't deserve it was Ty. They said he flip-flopped all over the place. Not really. He flipped one time from Scott and Jason to Aubrey.
But I also do agree. I think that even though I just said what I said, I think flipping on them was a bad move. He could have wrote those two to the end. That would have been a guaranteed win because no one on that jury would have voted for either one of them.
I do agree with that, but to call him a flip-flopper back and forth all throughout the game, it just wasn't true.
No.
And they kept saying that throughout all the jury members.
I think Ty's a horrible player, but
yeah, I agree. I think Jason could have got votes, but not Scott. I think Scott was just an asshole. Where
he's an asshole, and he's come from money because he was an NBA
player.
Yeah.
He was on that awful Cavs teams that made to the finals in 07.
Just
you guys know that, right?
7-foot goon.
Did you know
He's
that?
there to
James?
just be a big body. Yeah, I did know that. With the LeBron,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
LeBron's first finals he made, he was on that
LeBron
team.
and the LeBronettes.
He's a Kansas Jayhawk too.
And then he was a
Played
bench
with
warmer
Paul
when
Pierce.
the Celtics won the championship the next
Yeah,
year.
Yeah. So I just love this season. I'm on the Aubrey side, but I understand the statement. I just feel like Michelle is a passenger and not a driver with a lot of these moves throughout her games. And that's just it's not a player I personally prefer to like root for. I understand the strategy of it.
Right.
I understand it as she at one point took the wheel, but I feel like the only time she took the wheel was at like final four on, and she because she kept winning challenges or whatever.
yeah.
Final five on.
She won the immunities when she had to, and like I'm not a huge fan of like the physical game, but like I like when people like win winners like that win them when they had to, kind of like Mike did and like Michelle did here. I think it is cool to see someone win when they have to win.
Mhm.
So
Also, we haven't talked about Sydney, how great she was on this.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
she had
yeah, I said she was good.
I'm really upset that she hasn't played again, and I don't think she ever will.
no.
But watching her play, she was such a good character on top of being an amazing player.
Definitely.
Yep.
And I feel like she would have been the best winner out of that Final Four.
I can see that. I wouldn't like.
I don't know if she
disagree
would have
at all.
won, but I think she would have been a better winner than both Michelle and Aubrey.
I think if think about it, if Michelle Aubrey and her got to the end, Sydney got to the end, it would have been a wild final three.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Part of me thinks I think they were bitter with Sydney, so I think Michelle probably still wins.
Yeah.
hmm
But do you think the debate was hot for Aubrey and Michelle? Add Sydney to that mix, and it would have been even worse. And then, like I said, this is the second season I really got all in. I was all in on the Twitter drama after all of it. So I was invested even after the season. I was in there. I was like, she didn't deserve it.
Definitely one of the most controversial wins of Survivor.
Yeah, it's like
Not saying it's not deserved, but it's definitely controversial.
like there's so many things that I guess think a lot of us in the community can agree on, and it's just one of those things that it's such a torn like there's two sides to it clearly a lot of the time with that.
See, I feel like there's a lot more Aubrey truthers out there. I feel like I'm in the minority because I think Michelle should have won. But I mean,
I
you
think
can see
Michelle's gotten a
the two
lot
times
more
Aubrey
love
played-
over the past 5 years.
the 2 times Aubrey played after this, she was terrible.
Well, do you think Michelle's? I know she didn't get any votes, but her just making it that far in Winners at War might have helped just people see that
Yeah.
she does have this great social game.
Horrible.
She didn't play horrible.
She had to play a
Come on.
completely different game. Like, remember in Co-Wrong, she didn't go to tribal until like day 20 something. She went to almost every.
I'm talking
tribal
about in Winners
War.
at War. She played pretty bad. She was
She
in the
didn't play that
minority.
bad.
She deserves second over Natalie.
She deserves.
Okay,
second
I didn't
place.
say she didn't deserve second. I just said she did play pretty bad.
Considering the cat,
There were
the
much
cast
worse
she
players
was
out there than her.
against, and the caliber of like put it in an example. I thought Nick was a better player than Michelle going into that season, and Michelle was basically in the
And
same position as Nick in there and played way better.
Nick Whitney. Nick Wilson was a terrible Survivor player.
You.
Yes.
I see. I disagree because Tony gave him a bunch of props and his exit.
Nick was
Nick's
Tony's
not
bitch,
a
let's be
Nick's
honest.
not a
right,
terrible
hold on.
Survivor
We'll
player.
get
Let's
there.
stop this.
Yeah.
Winners at
Yeah,
War.
we're going a big tangent here, but
Yeah.
I honestly I think this is one of the peak seasons. Like this is what got me into love of Survivor this season. One of these 3
This is
seasons.
a great
that-
season to recommend to someone to watch who's never seen Survivor before.
Yes, it has drama. It has great comps. So if you're really into competitions, it has that. It has the survival aspect. It has the strategy aspect. It has the social aspect. It
That
has
Braun
everything
tribe
you
was
want from a
disaster.
Survivor season. So
Right.
That Braun tribe was a disaster.
disaster.
Yeah. Oh my
It
god.
just, I think if there's something for everybody in this season.
And I'm honestly surprised with how good this season was after, because they used Brains, Brawn, and Beauty again like they did in Cagayan, and that was so close together. I'm surprised they haven't done it again.
I'm surprised either because it worked both times.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I think the cast is the reason it worked both times because they both seasons had great casts. But
Right.
all right,
All right.
let's move on. We have a couple really hotly debated ones left, like like this one that Amanda decided to put all the way up at number 6. Frank had it down at 17. James and I both had it at 18. It's season 13, Survivor Cook Islands.
Amazing season. So much nostalgia for me. Amazing characters. Amazing winner. I love the play out of the season. We saw an amazing strategic game. We saw an amazing physical game. We saw some amazing social games. We saw the demise of fire making and how terrible it was and how hilarious that was. And then Yule deserved the win. Ozzy almost beat him, but I'm glad that Yule got it. I remember almost every single character from this season. I remember, Candace. I remember her mutiny. I remember Jonathan following her. I remember just everything. Like, I think it was a fantastic season. I love starting people on Survivor on this season. I feel like it's a lot of fun, and there's so many people to root for. I don't mind dividing by race. It didn't bother me at the time. I think it worked because you had someone representing each race at the end, which you don't see very often. So
you got a more diverse cast because of it.
Definitely.
It was just the way that they set it up.
They should not have
not
Yeah.
fly.
they shouldn't have
would
set
not
it up the
fly
way that they
today.
did, but I like how much diversity was on the cast, and I think that it shows that when you have that many diverse people, it does work, and you can have a great season out of it. The Billy
Remember, too.
moment, hilarious. Like, I just think I don't understand why you guys have it. Like, I understand you guys don't have it as high as me. I'm very, very high on Cook Islands compared to some other people. I know some people that have Cook Islands in their bottom half. A couple people that have in their bottom half, but I like to have it 18th. Like, that's really low. I feel like that's really
Not
low.
bottom
right where it
half.
should be.
That's above average. Yeah,
Like, look,
I still really like it.
Cook Island, like, all right. You say you remember all these characters, right?
Yeah.
Anybody who went out the pre-merge was absolutely useless.
Yes,
they were
I
boring.
Totally agree.
I can't name a single one of them besides the
So
one.
boring.
The only thing I remember from the pre-merge is that one dude that thought he fell in love with Candace. That's the
Billy
only thing I can
Garcia.
tell you.
And Cowboy.
Billy Garcia.
Yeah.
And Cowboy.
And Cowboy.
Who literally
That's
dreamed
it.
of the split idol plan and explained it to people, and these people thought this guy was insanely crazy. Okay,
No,
and then he literally
no, he
dreams
explained it to
of
Yule,
the split
and
idol plan.
He explained it to Yule, and Yule's like, "That's actually really smart. I need to vote you out because of the idols in
Yeah.
my pocket."
Right.
Even still, it was amazing. It was just so good to watch. And hold on, I'm pulling up the cast right now just so I remember
And see, here's my thing. Besides Cowboy and Billy Garcia, I don't remember anybody who didn't make merge.
The
And that was a
pre-merge
late merge that
stinks.
season.
The pre-merge of
It
this season
stinks.
sucks.
Pre-merge was terrible.
We just talked about the
But there's been
highlights,
a lot of seasons that have a very lackluster pre-merge and
Not when
But
the
the-
pre-merge is that long.
but
Not that are ranked 14.
yeah. And but the merge is fine.
JP, he was so fine.
But the merge was fine. But like
I don't even know who JP is.
I barely
the
remember
mutiny
him.
was better TV, terrible gameplay. It was just like the
Terrible
dumbest
gameplay.
thing
R.
ever. Like, you're winning challenges. Why would you leave this
I remember
tribe
Brad. I remember
to go
Brad.
to the other tribe that's losing
Rebecca.
challenges?
I remember Jenny. I remember Nate.
Notice how man has to.
They
read
made
these
them.
people
They
off to
made
know
the
who they
merge
are.
though. Nate was on the jury.
Nate was the merge boot.
Yeah, Nate was a pretty good
So,
player.
you remember,
He was
then you get
interesting.
like Nate, Candace, Penner, Parvati. Like
Adam.
Adam's really forgettable, and so is Sanjay
Adam
and Becky,
sucks
But like,
in that season.
Yeah, Adam sucked. He was just good to look at.
see, like the good
So
characters
probably
are
so.
elite. The others, you don't know who the fuck they are.
Reading this, I remember Billy, I remember JP, I remember Cowboy, I remember Stephanie and Brad.
Yeah.
And also
it's-
remember too,
Rebecca.
when they divided this season by race, they were going to do it again for Fiji.
They
yeah,
were
and then
dropped out, the only 19 person cast.
Mhm.
yeah, and then early, I think other people threatened to drop out too.
It also it was to me yes, I love that we got such a great final two, where another season, like we just said with the last one, where it could be highly debated who could have won. I mean, I totally think they got it right.
Mhm.
But I think that it kind of did frustrate me watching this on the rewatch, and this could
Mhm.
just be it being season 13, but everybody knows Yule has that super idol. Like, why didn't they figure out some sort of way to flush it? Like,
And this is my gripe with Penner because I love Jonathan Penner. He's one of the best characters in the history of Survivor.
Definitely.
What was he doing? Not voting for Yule that night. If he wanted Nate out that bad, vote for Yule. Yule plays the idol. Nate still goes home, and you can actually take Yule out of the game instead of him basically getting a free ride to the end.
Yeah,
Because remember, that was the first season with the final 3 too, and
Yeah.
the idol was good until 4.
Which
Yule
is
had a free ride
ridiculous.
to the end because nobody would make a move.
yeah.
Like, it didn't take that much like thought to like, let's just get everyone on an even playing field and just flush this thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is Yule having some of them just totally wrapped around his finger and being able to figure shit out more than anyone else and being the smartest guy out there. But it was sort of frustrating to watch for that reason. But I still think this season is iconic and it falls in
Yes.
like an iconic time.
Look,
But
And you also
the
had
pre-merge weighs a lot of it down just because I
The
don't
pre-merge weighs
remember.
it
Like
down,
Frank
but
said,
the merge also
Frank said,
builds
I
the
don't
stories for
remember.
people in the merge.
the merge, Cook Islands merge is not better than Salwan Desers, not better than Carl Rongs. It's not
too
better than
short.
Samoa. And like that, like it's not better than 44s. Like these are seasons that are kind of we've gone through. Their merge, like, and not all those had great pre-merges. All those merges are better than Cook Islands.
And also, don't forget too, like basically, you have 2 people basically in the game who are never going home because Yule has the idol in his pocket, and Ozzy won almost every fucking challenge.
Right. And they kind of screwed Ozzy over by making it to final 3. He was totally winning that season if it was a final
Oh,
2.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Because he would have won that final 3 challenge and voted Yule out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not a
This
big
and this
Ozzy
is the
fan,
is
but
very high for me. It holds a lot of nostalgia. I've rewatched it almost. It's probably one of my top 5 seasons I've rewatched over and over again. I think I've seen it 4 or 5 times.
I've watched it twice, and that's enough. 2-3
And
times.
also, and I know this is where we originally get Parvati. She was basically useless this season.
yeah,
Yeah.
she
Oh,
wasn't much.
This was not a great Parvati story whatsoever. It's definitely the Atu4.
Her arc doesn't start until Fans vs. Favorites.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that I mean the alliance with Yule, Sundra, Becky, and Ozzy.
The I2
The
4.
fact that they could get to the final 4, the I-2-4, was kind of. I wouldn't say it was totally like it was in Samoa because it wasn't nearly as impressive because you had some Candace and Penner making such a blatantly just stupid move to help aid that. But yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of predictable because you just saw Yule with the super idol and Ozzy winning everything. Like you pretty much knew that they were going to be there at the end. But
Remember, Candace was a hero for doing that.
yeah,
Candace is one of the most dry personalities I've ever seen on Survivor.
She's a 0
God,
for doing that.
I agree.
Go talk to Ed about her husband, though.
Oh yeah. Smoking.
John Cody.
I just can't
All
believe Candace has played 3 times. Like, for why?
I just can't believe you have it. Like, I was
Oh,
being
just
generous.
wait till this next one, Frank.
I was being generous with putting it where I put it.
Same with
I
that's what I think too because I put it higher for nostalgia like Amanda did, but my higher just happens to be like the 19 and not number 6. But
See, this like
I mean, there is a
this
season
is-
coming up that is like this for me.
This is the season that I remember most from my childhood. Over Pearl Islands, over Borneo. I vividly remember it. I vividly remember enjoying it. I thought Yule was an amazing winner. Like, it definitely piqued my teenage interest in Survivor. Because I was kind of like Frank, where like I watched Survivor, like watched it every week with my family, but I wasn't like into it until like Panama Cook Islands time. Well, that's not true because I was really on the Rob and Amber train when they got married and everything like that. So I did enjoy Pearl Islands and All Stars, but it was like my first like capture into a season where I remember a lot of it and like have rewatched it so many times. I definitely tell people like when I'm giving them a watch through, I make them start with China and then go to Cook Islands. Like that's like number 2. And I feel like a lot of people enjoy it. It's entertaining. It has a good winner. I don't know. I really like it. I think it's underrated. I think that's my one
Yeah,
underrated
It's
is
definitely
Cook
rated.
Island.
I think I might have overrated it. That's
Yeah.
like after
After
talking,
talking about it, yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's in a good spot.
after sitting here talking about, I think I put it some of these ones that probably deserve to go higher.
I might be with
I
you,
put it a
Frank.
little high for nostalgia, but I like where it is.
I think 20 is probably where it should be, but okay, last one.
No, we have
Last
two
one
more.
to stuff us.
Two more.
We have two more?
Yeah, we 13 and then 12.
Okay.
All right. So, this is gonna be another hot take one for two people specifically. Frank, you have this season at 14. I have it at 12. James has it up at number 4.
Oh, okay.
And Amanda has it all the way down to 22. Season 6, Survivor the Amazon.
All right. I have to go first.
I don't know
This
what
is the
either you
season.
two are smoking on this
Let
one.
James talk about his favorite season.
Hey, it's my 4th favorite season, okay? But objectively compared to where most people have this, yes, I would say it's my favorite season because this is the season that allowed me to fall in love with Survivor, and it really showed you that there can be this great strategic game played without idols and advantages, and that the game can really be shaken up every single week if you just plant your hands in enough baskets and make enough shit happen. And that's what we got with Rob Cesternino. And I mean, he really makes this season because there are, like, we do get a dog shit winner and we get some forgettable players, but there's some absolutely like hilarious moments in this season too. Like, some people might say it might not age as well because of it was 2002. The way that some of the guys drooled over the woman was a little bit cringe to watch today, but I think the starting tribes played out perfectly, like it being men versus women. It was something we hadn't seen before, and I think it totally worked. And then we got a pretty decent pre-merge, and then the early portion of the merge is just absolutely fantastic. The final 8, the final 7, and final 6 votes are just masterclass by Rob Cesternino, and there was so much going on in this post merge. There were so many moving parts for such an old school season, and that's why I appreciate it so much, because I think that this show is, we don't see the strategic masterminds we see today if we didn't get this season.
All right, Amanda, why do you hate Rob Cesternino?
I don't hate Rob Cesternino, but I don't think that this deserves to be as high as it is just because of one player. And I think it has a dog shit winner, like we said. I think over half the cast is forgettable or bad players. Butch was ungodly to watch. It was so boring. I didn't care. I didn't care about Heidi. I thought she was too nice. Like, I feel like she didn't even belong on Survivor. Like, I felt like she didn't understand the game whatsoever. Nice. She didn't know why she was there. Everyone just picked on Christy. Like, I don't know. I just felt like it was an okay season. Like, I'm surprised you guys have it as high as what you do. I understand that Rob is amazing. Like, he really, really turned like how Survivor is and everything. But like, I'm like looking at this cast. I'm like, I don't get it.
Now, it does for me get a little bit of a break because it is a really old school season. And I think I mentioned this when we were talking about Marquesas. Like, if you watch Marquesas and skip over Thailand and go right to this, you can see the evolution of Survivor gameplay. And really, Rob takes it to a whole new level. And that's what I love about Survivor the most. So that's why this season's as high as it is. And then, like, you could say, like, oh, you could hate half the cast. Like, I think everybody in the merge is pretty good. Well, Matthew's you don't know what the hell he's doing.
No.
But he's great TV.
He's just a
great
weirdo.
TV. He's great
I like
TV.
the men are creepy and the women are like bad. I don't know. I just like did not like this season.
I don't know how
really, Dina and Alex were great players. Rob just took them out because they were his biggest threats to win at the perfect time.
I think
you're on mute.
No.
What do you say, Michael?
Oh, he's not working.
I said I was I would have loved if Alex had gotten a chance to play again. I feel like they could have put him on All Stars instead of Jenna.
Alex and Dina both could have been on All Stars, and Heidi, I think even you can make
Well, they
an
asked
argument
Heidi to
for
be on
her
All Stars,
too.
and she said no.
Yeah,
Look, this has if it's one of the things like Samoa. If you don't like Rob Cesternino, you're not gonna like this season. I just think Rob is a much more likable figure than Russell is, so also helps bump it up. Where Samoa, it was a fun ride because of Russell. It wasn't a fun ride because of the cast. Like that's why I think Samoa Amazon. I think I had. Where did I had it? Where did I have
You
it
had
at?
it 14, I think.
So I had a couple spots ahead of it. That's I think they're similar seasons, but Rob is a more likable figure, and you feel like you're having fun with his moves. Where Russell just kind of like he's beating him down to the submission. Where Rob is just like he's like laughing and having a good time. As
he's
confessional.
playing the middle.
He's such a
like,
smart
he's-
ass too in his
He was
confessional.
the
Yeah.
fir-
Oh, yeah.
he was the first person to like really play the middle that well and like
Right.
be able to pull it off for like multiple
Right.
rounds. And
Like I said, in Marquesas, you have the first power shift where people on the bottom kind of overtake the people on top. This is the first time you kind of see that pendulum strategy where Rob's going to vote with this side. He'll go back and vote with this side, and they weren't going to vote him out because they needed
They
him.
needed him.
They
Yep.
needed
Yeah.
him. Yep.
He put himself in the perfect spot until he got the final
Right.
three.
And so you got
and
final.
his confessionals, like him just being like the narrator for this season, he was fantastic.
Oh, he was a perfect
And-
narrator for the season.
And I mean, also his voting confessionals were fantastic.
Yeah.
Na 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 na.
Yeah.
Hey
Nah,
hey.
hey,
Goodbye.
goodbye.
And you can't even see that in the
No, they edited it out.
They edited it
I
out.
remember Rob said one time on his podcast that he did that. Jeff heard him. He said that is never making the air, and then it made the air.
Damn.
And then I think when he voted for Heidi, he said like, two girls, like one brain, like
Two girls, one
half
brain divided by
wit.
two, only one half wit left.
Oh my god.
I look, I bet you right now, Rob could watch this whole season and be like, man, I said some cringy shit.
He does.
did.
He says that. He acknowledges
Definitely does.
that some of the shit he said doesn't hold up that well today, and like some people do criticize him for it because they say he is so politically correct now that they say like, oh, he's not really this guy. Like you
It was
watch him out
20
there or
years ago.
something. He was
Yeah.
literally like he was.
I'm gonna look up
25
how
years
old he was when he played.
He was 24, I think, 25 years old, something
You
like
guys
that.
know he was supposed to be on Big Brother and then he got
Yes.
thrown as Survivor.
Do you know who got cast instead of him?
Yeah, Josh.
Josh.
Josh on BB3.
Josh
He
from
was-
BB3. Yeah.
He was supposed to be on BB. Can you imagine him being on BB3 with
Oh my
Danielle?
God.
That would have been crazy.
That would
yeah.
have been insane. But I think Rob's a fun figure. See some fun blind sides. He definitely carries the season. It sucks he doesn't get the win. I do feel like if he did get to the end, if it was a final three, he wins the season
Right.
easily.
And he's the best winner up to that point of the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
For sure.
Easily.
and he would have been the best winner for quite a while. Probably.
Well, I
don't-
mean, Probst did call him the best
Till
player
Yule.
to never
'Cause-
win.
I'd say he would be a better winner than Yule. He didn't have if he would have won,
What
because
about
Yule
Urkel?
had the safety of the super idol.
Well, it'd be
Rob-
Harvey then, right?
Maybe Poverty was
Yeah.
at 16, which is
That's
like
10
huge
seasons
gap.
later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
I think, and Jeff still stands by that he thinks Rob's the best player to never win.
I agree.
I think
Yeah.
he's definitely in consider. There's a lot to consider now.
He played the
He's
best. I think it was the best singular, like, non-winning game to not make it to the end.
I agree.
But like, But Cerie's probably-
I think Cerie,
Cerie,
yeah.
I would still say is the best player to never win because she had multiple times where she could have.
She just got
won.
absolutely screwed.
I think Russell Haynes is up there too.
No, who didn't make it to the end?
Yeah,
Oh, who didn't make it to the end?
yeah.
Like
Jesse?
Suri had literally 3 out of her 4 times. If she got to the end, she probably would have won.
Yeah.
And she got screwed each time.
I think I'm trying to think who else would be in that conversation.
One-time
Uh,
player, best to never win. Was that what it is?
No, just never
Yeah,
to make it.
They
Best
also
to never win
did-
who didn't make it to the end.
Best to never win who didn't make the ending. Jesse's up there.
Jesse.
I
Jesse,
think Jonathan's up there
No,
Jonathan, who?
No.
from
from
42.
42.
Oh my God, no
Oh.
chance.
What's wrong?
He's like one of the best physical players I've ever played.
So what?
What?
You guys do realize that like the physical part of Survivor is like part of it, right? Like immunity wins matter.
Okay.
Lauren Island of the
is the
Idols, I
only
think.
way you don't go home.
Okay.
That's the only way
Well,
in
how-
Survivor that you don't go home. is
How
immunity.
often has the physical player won Survivor?
How many times does someone who's won immunity go home?
That doesn't matter.
It
Do
does
you-
matter.
Right.
It's a huge part of
Man,
Survivor.
answer the question. How many physical players have won Survivor?
Mike, Natalie.
No, I want to count Natalie Anderson as that. She had the
Why?
other thing.
She won
had the
one
other
She
immunity.
was
One.
good at everything else.
That she
Yeah.
didn't need.
Well, their aspect is physical. I'd say Mike. You could say
Maybe
me.
Tom Westman. Maybe
Tom?
Tom
No, I
Westman.
think to me, it needs to be like physical is the only reason you won. To me, that's not Tom. It's only Mike.
See, I think what it is,
Fabio.
honestly, is the trend of people think immunities in physical game doesn't matter, and I think that it should hold way
If
more
you
weight
don't do
than what
anything
they
else
did.
in the game, it doesn't
Because
matter.
immunity
It
is the
doesn't matter.
only way you can't
Look
go
at
home.
Look at Brad Culpepper. He won. He tied the record for immunity wins. He didn't win.
Because the rest
I
of
mean,
us
look
go
at-
shit. That's
Look
why.
at Joe is this great at challenges. Like
He would never win
in the
Survivor.
his tribe
Mhm.
wins like everything in the pre-merge, but he has no idea how to play Survivor.
Do you
Like,
know how
no
many-
idea?
Do you know
have
in
the
his 3
physical
seasons
game
how many
along with the
tribals
strategic and
he
social
survived in the
game.
post-merge without immunity? One.
Well,
But-
if you Amanda, I do agree. It's nice if you have the physical game. That's awesome, but like you have to have the parts of the other stuff too. Like you can't
But the
just
physical
have a
game.
physical
I
game.
agree, but I also think that you should have part of a physical game in order to win Survivor at the end. If you're dog shit at challenges and win no immunities and win no rewards, and you go to
Richard
tribal every
Hatch,
single time, it's not a good fucking
Tina, Giuseppe only
Tommy.
won one
game.
immunity.
Denise went to tribal every
Tommy.
time. I get it.
You want me to keep going?
Adam Klein.
Adam Klein only won like one immunity.
I'm not saying that it's the only way to win, but I think that it should
Tony
be
didn't
no
win any
higher
the
than
first
what
time.
it is. That's all.
No,
That's
it should
all.
definitely go. It should go social and strategic. 1A, 1B, physical. That's like icing on top of the cake. Like it's
Yeah.
cool, it's there, but no one.
It's good to
cares.
win them when you need to win them. I think,
Correct.
like I said, but like you
It's
can't.
good to win them all
just-
the time.
No, it doesn't. It
Because
just
people target you because they don't want you to win immunity because that's the only way that you can keep yourself safe from going.
Then don't win immunity.
Don't win immunity. That's why people throw challenges.
Do you know what happens though
challenges
if you
don't
win
mean nothing.
immunity? Of course, it's never happened, but if you won immunity all the way to the end, you just guaranteed yourself to the end by never
Yeah,
ever being.
Ozzy did that and he lost.
Yeah. Which is
Brad
because his other
Culpepper-
parts of the game sucked.
Brad
But
Culpepper
imagine
did
if
it
Ozzy,
and he
imagine if
lost.
Ozzy still had a good strategic and social game along with it. He'd
But
be considered
that's-
one of the best ever.
Well, yeah. If
All
he
right, we're going
had,
down a rabbit
if
hole.
he knew how to
here.
play Survivor, he would be one of the best.
Yeah,
ever.
we-
You're right.
We turned into the physical.
All right, let's move
physical
on.
game
I'm not
matters.
saying it's the only thing that matters, but I'm saying I don't understand why the Survivor community holds it so low. That's my only
Because
thing.
Because
the
it's not
winners,
as important as the other two.
it's not
Let's move on.
important. Go on. Last one.
Last one for the day. We're pushing 2 hours right now.
Yeah.
And I have to go to bed soon.
You
So,
guys wanted to do this.
coming in at number 12, Amanda has this the highest at number 7. James has it the lowest at 17. I have it at 13. Frank has it at 9. It is season 18, Survivor Token Chains.
Ooh.
Token
We're
Chains is
all over the place with this
fantastic.
one.
I will say it has a slow pre-merge. When you first start
And-
watching,
That's an understatement.
That's the
it's a very
theme
slow
for like
pre-merge.
these seasons. Like they would. That's what's holding them back from being in the next episode. I
Yeah.
think some of these just have a.
And
slower
don't forget,
pre-merge.
there's a medevac at the merge, too.
Yeah.
See, I think the pre-merge helped with the exiles. I really enjoyed the exiles and then cross-tribaling, and that
Mhm.
was it hasn't been done. They never did something like that before ever again, did they? It was like this season specifically. So that's why I enjoyed. Like,
Mhm.
don't get me wrong, there's nothing flashy going on, but you really get to know some of the characters that are very important for the merge, which is awesome. Like, there's nothing crazy going on, but you really get to know JT and Coach and Tyson, Ty. You get to know all these people going into merge. So when we get to merge, you get to see them all together. You're like, I know these people. This is fun.
Yeah.
Some blindsides happen. Getting Tyson voted out was fun. I always like seeing Tyson blindsided. I don't know why, but it gives me joy. So
See, here's my thing with this season. This is the last time Survivor's done a 16-person cast. Like, it's the last time it's been this small. And besides Cagayan, it's the last time they did a final 2 with a jury of 7 like this. It felt like they did one last like hurrah for an old school season, because then we get to Samoa where it's a final 3, jury of 9. Everything's just bigger after Toka Jeans. So it seemed like it was like one last kick at the can to see what happened. And I mean, I think it went pretty well. I like the season. I think the pre-merge being terrible brings it down. But it's another like Samuel Del Sur where the merge is basically 2 episodes because of the medevac. Except this time it was like Brendan was going to go at 10, and instead Brendan will go at 9 because nothing changed.
Right.
And I do feel like even though Frank said like they spent a good bit of time on those exiles with like Taj and Sierra and Brendan and Steven, like, what did it mean? They all got together on the first vote, and then Brendan went home. And then I think JT plays a really dominant game. He's the first perfect game in Survivor history.
Mm-hmm.
I think Steven had one of the all-time worst final tribals. And again, this is another one where the tribe who had majority coming into the merge completely falls apart because they're such a mess. That Timbira tribe was so fun to see them just completely collapse. And you could get JT, Steven, and Taj in the final 4 when they should have been dead in the water.
So I love watching Coach coming back from exile. Like, he just survived the war.
I love watching him at exile.
He's such a drama queen.
So, Michael, did you say I have this 17th, I think, correct?
Yes.
This is one where I will say, like, hand up, I think I should have it higher. Like, the pre-merge isn't that good, but the characters on this season, like the location, exile itself, like the blind sides we get, like the winner we get, it's all like fantastic. I think I should have it higher. I think it's one that I got wrong.
It's okay. You had seasons like All Stars in Guatemala higher than this.
Well deserved.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take the heat for that.
All right,
but
go ahead.
What was I was saying one more thing. Yeah, so the overtaking at the merge of getting them to vote Brendan out and then getting Tyson out like right after that was just glorious by JT and Steven. And Taj was great too. I think we can't forget about her. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think she might have not wanted to ever play again because she didn't really need the money. She was more like there just for the experience. But it was amazing to see this duo of JT and Steven dominate the game. And like I said, I've said it on the previous time we talked about Coach with South Pacific. I think that this was the rawest and wackiest version of Coach, but the most tolerable version. And I'll never forget watching it live when I was in like 8th grade or however old I was when Coach told the story about how he was in the Amazon and he got beaten by indigenous people. And they're all the way that they're looking at each other, and it's like the music's like and they're like, Coach, like you need a reality.
And at the fucking reunion, he brings his lie detector test results about the story. Do you guys remember that? It's in a sealed envelope. I'm dead.
Yeah, and then at the end of the story, the first thing said was Brendan just asked like, so like how much did it cost to get a military helicopter drop? Yeah, like that was his takeaway from the story.
I think this is the best Coach as a character.
It also showed this season also showed
the
how
worst as the
player
player
Coach is.
Yes. As a character, I think this is the best Coach because I think in like Heroes vs. Villains Southpaw, he really started to feel himself, and you can see that on screen. he's like, I'm coach. Like my family calls me coach.
Literally. Dude, I can't believe that Erin made it as far as she did after almost going home the first day because she was sick as fuck.
Yeah.
And I will say Tyson was a terrible player at this point too. Like he was there.
At this
He was
point,
hilarious.
I was
You
gonna
didn't
say.
see Tyson is a good player until Blood versus Water.
No,
Yeah.
that was the first time he really took the game
And the only
seriously. But like,
time.
but in this time, he was more there for like, he was funny and stuff. But
He was
like,
there for a laugh
was-
this time.
He was
just,
actually
He was a
like,
douchebag.
He was a dick to Sierra, like
but he,
absolute dick.
it's funny. Frank just called him a douchebag. But like, I liked watching him though.
Yes, he was a funny douchebag.
Yeah,
It was one of those things that like you were laughing with him, even though we probably should have been laughing with him, but you were laughing with him. I think just the character.
He just has that dry humor where it's just so whatever he comes out of his mouth is just really funny.
Yeah.
I think the
Maybe-
characters really do carry this season. I don't think it's the best. If you're looking for the best gameplay, I don't think this compares to other seasons that we probably ahead of.
I think the gameplay holds up though.
Steven
Yeah,
and
I do.
JT from and Taj from the three of them, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everybody else, not
The way
does not
the way
play
JT
well.
and Steven had coach eating out of the palms of their hands. Oh my god!
Yeah.
It's so good.
And the people when they found her over JT, they were willing to give up their firstborn to JT. It was ridiculous. They signed their soul to him. It was weird.
Dude,
I
he
just
was
feel
good.
bad because Steven does not deserve to be a zero finalist.
I think he wasn't ready to talk to the jury.
No, the other thing was he didn't want to talk shit about JT. Well, JT was ready to just JT had Steven all tied up, ready. He just pushed him right in front of the bus.
Yep.
Dude, we think like Steven didn't have a chance going into that final
Not a
tribal
chance.
yet.
No.
Because
No.
there were literally people saying that they wanted JT to win that $1 million so bad. Like
Yes.
it didn't even matter that he played like this amazing game. Like people liked him that much.
And to be fair, Steven was gonna get rid of JT. He just couldn't because he won the
He
last few
couldn't.
immunities.
Yeah.
So
And that's the risk you run if you.
I will
can't
say
take them
that,
to the end, don't take them that far.
True. I will say that Rob Has a Podcast also has this ranked 12. So we are matching him.
I think that's about right.
I think this is a good spot. Like I think it's a.
Me
I think
too.
it's a great spot.
Yes.
I don't think it's worthy of being in the top 10.
No, I have in the top
I
10.
do,
Maybe
but-
I have a little higher, but than I should. But I don't think I'm too far off. I'm again at 9.
I really
so I'm
like a lot of characters this season.
Like I said, a lot of these seasons, what prevents them from being in the next episode is a drier pre-merge with some of them. I think
Yeah.
that's like the recurring theme with a few of them.
yeah, I think it's hard to hit the ground running and just not stop. There's only a few seasons that do that,
Right.
and I think they're mostly all in the next
Mhm.
next episode. So
This next episode's going to be like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
something like that. I mean, there is some debates going on here, but
Well, I mean, for the next episode, though, a lot of them, objectively, we're all just going to agree that
To
they're
gush
great
over,
seasons.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Amanda might not.
Fuck off.
I like One World. Come on.
You couldn't
That's
say
a-
it with a straight face.
I can't wait to bash Blood versus Water when we get to it.
oh god, that
She's going to
Yeah.
bash a great season of Survivor.
yeah.
Yes, I am.
They almost went on this list because of you.
Another boring pre-merge.
Literally, it was almost on this episode because of Amanda.
No, not boring. We gotta stop. I'm gonna go off on a tangent here.
All right, yeah. We'll start with probably first half hour of the next one. Of Blood versus
Yeah.
I forgot the stellar moments of the first episode of Rupert and Laura. Fucking god awful.
All right, we'll get there next episode.
All right. Thank you guys. If you guys made it this far, thank you guys for watching. Let us know what we got right, what we got wrong. I'm sure
There's a lot wrong.
there's a lot of people who think we got a lot wrong,
Yeah.
but this is just our opinions. So give us yours.
I'm going to quote
Part 4
Tesla.
will
I
be on-
just exist.
Part 4 will be out in probably a week after this one. That's why we've been doing about a week each. So until next time, we'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye.